All right, we done caught up.
Uh,
What are we talking about today? We got a couple of cool
oh
things
my
going
God.
forward. Couple of cool
Just
things.
more like women centric stuff. Like I just
Ooh,
feel like, the Nike commercial that like,
yes,
everybody watches women's sports. Like everybody watches women.
yes.
But so we got a HBCU student repeating
Ooh,
as the gymnastics champion, and I am talking about Morgan Price.
yes.
I
This
am
price
in
is
awe.
incredible.
I'm in awe. I'm in
As
awe.
we
Like
should
that
be.
is like to come, for Fisk to come on the scene, with this new program and having, all these you know, top athletes. I mean,
Hmm.
like a two-peat. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like that's insane.
Running it back. So, Morgan Price, we learned repeated at the National Collegiate Gymnastics Women's Invitational Championship. And she won last year, which was incredible. Only HBCU student to do so. Um, I'm just floored every time we talk about her, every single time. She always sets the bar literally and goes higher and does better. Perfect score. Just insane.
Jesus Christ. And then just the fact that like, our athletes are coming home,
Mhm.
and we have the resources for them to have a home to come back to.
Yeah.
Who knows how many, black students would have went to Fisk, for gymnastics.
Right.
I know some that went to UNC for gymnastics. And not saying, remember, I'm sure they had a great experience or what have you, but
Mhm.
yeah, like just coming home. And one thing about HBCUs is like that you learn is like you're finding yourself with people that look like you. So like imagine
Right.
that with also perfecting your craft, and something like a
Mhm.
gymnastic and stuff is something you can keep going, Olympics or what have you. And she was originally going to a SEC school.
Oh, wow.
So I am, yeah. So it's just thrilled that we had the opportunity and the resources for her, to go to Fisk. Like,
That's
man,
incredible.
man.
Isn't Fisk
Yeah,
the one
now
with the really dope acrobatic team? I think they got a really solid acrobatic team. Fisk is really making the way in women's sports in general. We might need to do a whole segment on like the women's sports at Fisk because I wonder what other programs they really
I would
got
love that.
going on.
I love
But not to
that.
deter us from Miss Price.
And I think there was another student, Miss Reed Hamilton Hammond too. So there she's also advancing to the event finals.
Oh yeah,
So
Leah Reed Hammond. Mhm.
yeah, so not, not one, of course, but we have two that's advancing.
Right.
And I mean it's just amazing. So it's like not a fluke. One she won last year and this year. And then we have multiple athletes going from this. So I'm with it.
Same. Because you can't beat that. And
And then let's talk
like
about
you
another two P. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no,
Everybody. Go
no,
ahead.
I was listening. I was listening for you.
North Carolina A&T. So, I'm not gonna say always too many great things about. No, I think A&T is an amazing school, but like going to the cheer national championship and winning
Yeah.
again. I've been watching their little routines. I'm like, oh, this is like super bring it on. And they down in
Yeah.
Daytona too. They down in Daytona too. So I feel like this
Hmm.
is it's so nostalgic. It's like a childhood memory, unlocked or whatever, because bring it
Right.
on, they perform in Daytona. So like yeah, impeccable routines. And then there was one like you physically saw them mess up, right? And like but the
Right.
way they jumped it back into it like was almost more admirable than the routine itself, because
Wow.
it was a super intricate part where where they're stunting.
Uh-huh.
So one group fell out of the stunt and got right back into it at the same time that the rest were in the stunt, the next part of the stunt. So
Right.
I'm like, so not just, that, actually cheering, but in a stunt.
Right.
They came back
Right.
in a stunt. I was like, wow. Wow. It was beautiful to watch.
That's
So yeah, shout
dope.
out to A&T.
That's dope. I need to run that back. I know there's tons of coverage on that. I need to run that back. I was a
Yeah.
big Bring It On fan, and I wanted to be a cheerleader at one point in my life. But I was not cheerleader material.
That is hilarious. But would you have been a stomp and shake cheerleader, or would you have been, a stunt performance cheerleader? What do you think?
I believe I would have probably just I would have been the base of a performance cheerleader. I've been like this same size and height for the most part since like eighth grade. Like I was Big Bird in high school. And no, for real, like I've literally been this big, like this size. You see me at since the eighth grade. So I think I would have been now
That's
I would have
admirable.
wanted my passion could have been summer shape. And I feel like I would have went to HBCU out of high school. I already had wanted to go to A&T. I was interested in Hampton because at the time that was the local school. Um, so I think I still would have ended up at a HBCU, but I don't know. I did. I would ended up in band at ROTC. I had also been shooting guns since the eighth grade, so I was like, "That's cute. I can't shoot nothing, so I'm going to where I can shoot." That was my Raider Challenge was my jam.
I
So
wish I could have like been in like a dance or something like that. But the thing is that speaks to the resources. Like,
yeah.
so many, we can do basketball, football because all you gotta do is find a crate and some cardboard, throw it
Mhm.
up. But like some of these things like swimming and gymnastics
Right.
and cheer, they take some real money and commitment and somebody getting
Mhm.
you back and forth to these events. So it just
100%.
I think it speaks to the community as a whole and the advancement, and then really pushing our children to the arts as well, and
Yeah.
not just like go to school, make sure you get good grades so we can get up out
Yeah.
of here, like so I love it and I appreciate it, just to
That's a
see
great point.
us.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't come up in
Hmm.
the push for STEM. We did. Now I did have a like I was in a college preparedness program called Avid, and it, helped you take notes and stuff like that. So it was very, very interesting. Just thinking about, like you said, the resources that we had. I can't think of any like dance troops that were outside of college, like how they have like dance, like these majorette dance groups now. Like
Yeah,
your kid can join at 3 years old. I don't remember any of
developing the
that. Like we
skills.
had
No,
ballet and tap and that kind of stuff, but the stuff that like the access that they have now, the resources, I don't
it's
remember any of
beautiful.
that. And my good old Christian
Yeah,
mama was not finna have me some of this. She wouldn't even let me just like do the praise dancing at church. Like she was like, nah, you can't do that.
I remember I wanted to do gymnastics, and there was one that I know of, like a gym, and my mom, shout out to her because like I think she really like prevented a lot of like things that
Mm-hmm.
might could have happened to me as a black girl, that and hippie
Yeah.
black girl that
Yeah.
always had hips, kind of like this,
Yeah.
what you were saying. And the gym that I told her about, she went and scoped it out unbeknownst to me, and it was
Uh-huh.
a bunch of you know um Caucasians, right? And
Right.
so like just like the parents of the Fisk gymnastics girls, like they said that they were the only black girls that this whole time. And so even with like Simone Biles starting her gym or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, it's about having more black girls come together, like again finding yourself, going through girlhood, with people who don't look like you, and for people
Yeah.
who your hair, like you got to explain why you got to do this to your hair as opposed to what
Right.
they had to do to their hair and things like that. So you can just imagine,
Yeah.
um, what they had to go through to get to this point or whatever, and now that you got people who just understand, who just are part of the culture, and you're
Yeah.
growing and learning and perfecting your skill with people who look just like you. Like
Right.
it's so underrated.
I agree, especially considering like the face of gymnastics right now is Black women. Simone Biles, you got Jordan, you
Yeah.
got, you know what I'm saying, all the girls. So I'm excited to continue to see how, this progresses across HBCUs. It's incredible for women's sports. I'm into it.